Okay, so next we're gonna put on our valve cover gasket, or valve cover. So we need to remove the valve cover gasket and these grommets for the spark plug wells. The way I'm gonna remove these spark plug, these grommets for the spark plug wells is just grab them with a set of pliers. Make sure you grab the spark plug well, nothing else, and then you just twist and pop out. Okay, and then you want to install this is just put in the new one, get some oil around it, and then here, get the old one, put it on top of the new one, and just gently tap it in. It should go in without a problem. Okay, next we put our valve cover gasket on. Make sure you put it in firmly, that it stays in. Okay, so before we put our valve cover gasket on, I'm gonna do a couple of things. First, drain your oil and change your oil filter. Then refill the oil. Just try to put in at least a quart on top. Try to lubricate all these parts. And also, if you can, get like a straw or kind of an oil sprayer or oil can and get some oil into the spark plug wells. Not in the spark plug wells, but onto the cylinder. Try to get it all the way onto the cylinders, because the cylinder's been sitting a while and we cleaned them, so it's gonna help with the dry start. Okay, before we put a valve cover gasket on, there's 4 areas you need to put RTV silicone on. It's these areas here. It's an uneven surface because of these plugs that they put in at the factory. So you put I'll use ultra black. You can use probably ultra gray too. And then this corner here, and same thing on the back side, that corner, and then there's another uneven surface here that you put RTV silicone on. Alright, next we put our valve cover gasket on. Make sure it stays in place and your valve cover gasket stays in place, and you put it on as evenly as you can. Okay, next it's time to tighten our bolts down, and I don't know the torque, but I'm guessing it's probably like 6 foot per pound, or I don't know, 7 maybe. But I'm just gonna hand tighten these, and then you wanna go start from the center out. Okay. Okay, next we put in our new spark plugs. Don't forget to put some oil on the threads. Okay, next we want to get the thermostat housing on the cylinder head and also this coolant hose on here. This is kind of tricky because there's also a gasket involved, and only on one side there's a stud that's coming out of the cylinder head. On the other side, this bolt goes through here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this bolt on the inside the thermostat housing, and then put this in the cylinder head and then line them up. And another thing is that if there's not enough space here to flex this and put this back on after we put that on, so at the same time I'm going to try to slip that on there as well. You can also always just put some a little bit of gasket maker on the gasket and stick it onto the cylinder head, but I think I got it. Okay, next it's time to put this outer thermostat housing into place. Got our new thermostat in there, and yeah, just this is secured in place by 2 nuts. And also something else to note is that it's a good idea to get some sandpaper and sand off the little bit of corrosion that's on these pipes. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna clean that off next. I already cleaned this off, but so you just get a better seal when you put your coolant hose on here. All right, I think next we're gonna start getting this wiring harness back on here, get these connectors in, and for the most part these guys should fall into place. So yeah, this should go on here. That's in there, and this just held in place right there. There we go. And as you remember, this is held in place by 2 nuts on this side and then 2 bolts on the back that go into the cylinder head. There's that. There's that connector. Okay, let's not forget these two connectors on top. Okay, next we get our airbox in and start tightening the bolts. 3 bolts that hold it in. Okay, next we put on our air filter. Okay, next we put this on back on here. We'll get this side in first, and then put this on the air filter box and secure it with these clamps. Also, don't forget this this vacuum line that goes from your valve cover to here, and also the connector for your MAF sensor. Okay. Okay. Next, we put our spark plug wires on here. So. Okay. Now on the right side, there's 2 connectors here that we need to reconnect. They're the clip-on types. They just snap in place. So. Pretty easy. There we go. Okay, also don't forget to put this vacuum hose back on the throttle body. There we go. So make sure you clip in the throttle cable back into this brackets. Okay, next it's time to remove all stuff from the old radiator to the new one. What I'm going to do is actually going to disconnect the lower coolant hose and the transmission lines. Actually going to get this upper radiator hose out of the way first. There we go. There's one. There's the coolant hose. Okay, before we move our radiator fan over, we're gonna put this stuff, these little washer thingies, whatever they call it. We put these on the radiator. These are what the bolt for the radiator fan screws into, and they go in right here. Also, don't drop your new radiator. And whatever you're resting it against, make sure this top part is resting. This top part is resting against it, so it doesn't damage the radiator. All right, here's the last one. Okay, now we get our old radiator fan with all these little hoses attached to it, and we drop it in. We attach our coolant and transmission lines. Okay, next we put this bolt in to hold this in place while we're putting it back on the car. Okay, also make sure we're going to drop this in. You line up the bottom of these with the little rubber grommets that are sitting at the bottom of the bottom of the radiator. Okay. Alright, we're in position. Okay, next we just tighten these nuts, these bolts that are holding this to that attaches to the AC condenser. There is one here, and then 2 towards halfway line down here. So we're going to go ahead and tighten those next. Okay, next we put on our transmission lines. And then this radiator hose. Next we put in our upper radiator hose. Okay, also don't forget these little brackets that hold the radiator in. They're pretty important. Oh yeah, and don't forget your other radiator fan. It's kind of important. Okay, and obviously don't forget to reconnect the connectors for your radiator fans. One on this side, this guy right here. Okay, so before we start the car, we're gonna start adding coolant to it, and we're gonna, just fill it to as far as we can. Then, it's a good idea to put a funnel on there actually, and use a funnel, and then you add coolant as much as you can, and then you start the car, and the coolant's gonna slowly, the level is gonna slowly go down, and then you add coolant as the car warms up until you keep adding until the fans come on, cycle on and off 2 times, and then by then you should have all the air out of the system. Okay, so after doing that, I'm now ready to start the engine. This engine, I expected it's gonna make some clacking noises because of the lifters. They need to get lubed up and properly, and also we put oil in the pistons inside the cylinders, so that's gonna take a while to clear out. If it starts smoking a lot, I'm gonna turn it off, because right now it's 9 p.m. here and I live in a residential area and don't want to piss off my neighbors. And I'll continue the video tomorrow. And also, but actually I won't continue the video tomorrow. I'll just run it for like a minute. If there's no check engine lights, everything is running fine, there's no clacking or any kind of noises, that's all given if the car runs, so you gotta keep that in mind. So yeah, now I'm just gonna get in there and start the car. So far so good. It actually started a lot better than I thought it was going to start. I cycled the key on and off a couple times, so that probably helped, but it's running pretty good now, and it's not smoking, so that's good. But yeah, actually I gotta go double check, make sure there's no check engine lights. Okay, I'll be right back. Okay, yeah, no check engine lights, but I'm starting to hear some lifter tap. I don't know if you guys can tell or not, but it's pretty faint. It should clear up in a couple of minutes, and yeah, we should be okay. So, okay, I don't know, slowing down. But yeah, so you get a check engine light if the timing was off. Or, I was worried about that OCD valve. I thought we were going to get a check engine light for that. So, and that didn't happen either. So so far, I mean, we could get a check engine light for that later on, but all the timing and all the other stuff is, they're all fine. And, yeah, obviously, you get a check engine light if you leave one of the connectors off or something, but that hasn't happened either. Okay, so I don't know if you guys are going to be able to tell or not. I ended up, there's some smoke coming from the engine bay area. Again, I don't know if you guys can tell, but that stuff is all the gunk and the, brake clean, carb clean, whatever we got on there to clean that stuff off, and I actually spilled some coolant, so that's normal. Whatever comes, if you're getting smoke out of the engine bay area, it's a lot better than getting smoke out of the tailpipe, that's for sure. So yeah, so with that said, I'm going to conclude this video. Hope this video helps people out there, and I'm sure it will, because a lot of Hyundais are breaking down and blowing head gaskets. So yeah, if you have any comments, suggestions, please leave them below. Or if you like the video, please give it a thumbs up, and if you want to see more like it, please subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.